Ladies and gentlemen, if you can put your hands together, as I'm going to introduce to you now, a child survivor of domestic violence, one of our very own. Give a round of applause for Annika Rice Benedictus. She's also accompanied by her mom. Thank you, Annika.
So, hi everybody, thank you for coming. In the beginning, I was 5. My dad moved us from Missouri, away from all my family in California. That was a sign the entire family ignored. The truth was, is, and always will be, in my family, separation was one of the signs of abuse, which no one knew about. At the time, abuse was a fact of life, so I found safe places to hide. My room, my friend's house, the field, and even the old barn. These were places my mom knew about, but my dad didn't. Except my room, everybody knew about that place. On New Year's Eve, my mom went to go see our friend. She asked me if I wanted to go, and I said no. I wanted to stay with my dad. After she left, my dad, my brother, and I watched a movie, then went to McDonald's. When we got home, my mom, Grandma, and Grandpa were waiting in my mom's car. My dad told my brother Henry and me to wait in the car. He got out and started yelling at my mom. My mom came to the truck and started to grab my brother out of the truck. My dad grabbed her arm and twisted it like he was going to break it. Then he blew smoke from his cigarette into her face. When he got it to his truck with us still in it, he lit another cigarette. My mom told him not to smoke in front of us because my brother was allergic. Then she went to my brother's door of the truck with it still moving, and she started unbuckling my brother and told me to get out. When I went running to the porch, my grandma and grandpa got out and started running with me. We went inside and we went to my room. We locked the door and hid in the closet with Henry. Over the next hour and a half, the sheriff came and my dad called his parents, and my grandma and grandpa took turns watching us and listening to the conversation downstairs. My dad came up to my room and demanded to talk to me. He asked me if I knew what divorce was, and I told him the simple definition. He told me he loved me and he would see me later. Over the next 6 weeks, which felt like forever, my dad shared custody of my brother and me with my mom. Every other weekend we went to our friend's house, but during the visitation my dad acted like he wanted nothing to do with me. After some time my dad came back home, but things only continued to get worse, and I tried not to be home as much as I could. That way I didn't have to listen to the arguing and feel the tension. And my dad couldn't yell at me and threatened to smack me for not moving fast enough when he told me to do something. Then one day in May, I was next door at my friend Summer's house. We were playing on the trampoline when I heard my mom and dad arguing. We went to stand by the fence that divided the two properties. I was close to bursting into tears, and Summer just tried to keep me smiling. When that didn't work, she resorted to hugging me. I saw my dad speed off. 15 minutes later, the sheriff came to my house, and my dad went to Summer's house and told me to go home. When I got home, my mom told me to pack a bag because we were going somewhere for a night. We put some things in a backpack and went to the Russell House, a shelter for victims of domestic violence. My mom thought we were only going to be there for a night, but the fact was that it was going to be our new home for the next 3 months, where the 3 of us would share a room, 2 bunk beds, a closet, 2 small dressers, and sometimes we had to share with another person. For the first month, we didn't leave the property because there was no official court order, and if my dad took us, he wouldn't have to bring us back to our mom. We also got new clothes from donations that people left in the shelter because my dad refused to give us anything, even our underwear or my Hello Kitty lunch bag, which I loved and asked for again and again. When we moved from the shelter, we walked into an empty house with our backpacks and some borrowed air mattresses which never seemed to stay inflated. We had nothing. Over the next year, we had court-ordered visitation every week on Tuesdays and every other weekends. I didn't want to spend time with my dad because even though I loved him, he scared me. He took my jewelry and my money and locked it away. He made me watch my brother and wait outside in the cold for him to get home from next door, and he pawned us off on his girlfriend who wasn't nice to us. On top of it all, he went to jail and said he had to go because my mom wanted him to. The fact is that he had to go to jail because he made a plea bargain for disturbing the peace, so he did not have to plead guilty to domestic violence charges and risk being deported back to Holland. So after a year, my mom got a job here in the Imperial Valley. My mom and dad got divorced and my grandparents came to help us move. The last time I saw my dad, these were his words to me. I love you, Hugabug, but I'm not going to send you anything for your birthday or Christmas because your mom will not give it to you. I'm going to call you every night. My dad kept his promise. He never sent anything, and until 2012, he continued to call, even if it was at times sporadically. It was that year that I had enough. He requested visitation and I said no, I wasn't going to go. I asked my mom to go back to court. We went to court and my mom won full legal custody of my brother and me. My dad still has visitation, but he hasn't exercised it. By certain standards, I live a normal teenage life. I hang out with my friends, I do many activities at my school. I'm learning how to drive. I'm involved in my youth group and in children's church. My mom takes very good care of me and my brother, and unless you ask me, you would most likely not know what I lived through. Emotionally, however, I still struggle. I have a tendency not to be very trusting of guys, and I get very angry sometimes and cannot control my anger. Sometimes I still feel unwanted, unloved, and abandoned, and those things take a very long time to heal. Most days are good, but some days it hurts. I didn't tell you this stuff to make you feel sorry for me. Instead, when you look at me, I want you to see a survivor and the hope of a bright future. Domestic violence is part of my family's story and a part of my story, but it's not my destiny. If you are in a domestic violence situation or a survivor like I am, it's not your destiny either. You are more, you can do it, you can hope, you can overcome.
Let's tell Annika that we love her. Next we have a Board Vice President Bob Diaz that will start the No More chant as we start marching onto El Centro Town Square as we'll be going down this way. So let's give a round of applause once again for Annika and say thank you. Let her know that we love her as we walk down Main Street. If you have a chance to talk to her, please share how you feel about it. Bob.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to do a couple of chants.